In this lecture, we're going to learn about how to stop crawlers from crawling a part of a website, such as a folder. Let's assume we are blocking Googlebot and we want it to not crawl our classic cars folder. So the directives we have here is saying Googlebot is not allowed to crawl the classic cars folder. To make this more clear, we could write this. So this is saying that all user agents can crawl the whole site, but Googlebot cannot crawl the classic cars folder, but it can crawl the rest of the website. The Robots.txt file allows users to create directives for multiple user agents or crawlers, not just one. That means we can provide specific directives to Googlebot and different ones to Bingbot. On a side note, the way to identify a user agent is normally through web server logs, but that is a different discussion. So here is a simple example of setting specific directives to allow one bot and disallow another. So we're just going to allow Googlebots like this. And disallow Bingbots like that. There you go. This setup is saying to Googlebot it can crawl the whole site, whilst saying to Bingbot it's excluded from the whole site. In the next lecture, we'll go through a more detailed setup. So in this lecture, what we are going to do is learn how to do a crawl delay and got to introduce some pattern matching so we can disallow the crawler or the bot from crawling URLs that match a certain pattern. Now, an important principle to remember is that the robots.txt file is mainly directives to disallow or to request the crawler from not doing things, because you don't need a robots.txt file, but what a robots.txt file is allow you to control the crawlers from doing certain things on your website, from stopping it from crawling certain parts of the website. And as a result, you protect your parts of the website from being crawled by search engines, and you protect your server infrastructure, you protect your resources, because crawlers can cause a lot of heavy load on your server and often can make it crash, which means that your website could crash. And that's something that we don't want. The main things that we are doing in these lectures and this module with the robots.txt file is to control the crawling, to protect resources of our websites. And that is the main, or one of the main benefits of using a robots.txt file. Let's, without delay, show how we can do a crawl delay. So just all you do is just have to enter that, and then you put in some numbers, and these numbers are in seconds. So we're asking a crawler agent, crawler, any crawler. So we just put that star there. That star means any crawler, to wait 120 seconds before crawling the website. That's what this is doing. That's what this directive is doing. Now, let's say, for example, we want to ask the crawler to not crawl parts of the website that match a certain pattern. And to do that, we can use this star. So this star is based on regex, regular expression. We don't need to go into more detail about that. That is a completely different topic. A good example of using this pattern matching with the star is to ask crawlers to not crawl search pages with the website. So a lot of websites have internal search pages, so you can perform an internal search and that can return many pages. So if crawlers can access those search pages, they can end up doing infinite amount of crawls, or even end up generating pages by themselves if we have a CMS that allows them to do that. So all we have to do let's say, for example, the search results on your pages on your website results in a URL like that. Now, all we have to do is type in that part of the URL and let's use the star after it. So when we use the star after a string like this or slug or part of the URL, this star is saying that anything that comes after this, after the search, after this part of the URL, do not crawl it. So for example, if the URL was like this, search equals red plus hats. If the URL was like that, this part will not get crawled because we put the wildcard star here, which is what it is known as. And by doing so, the search engines and search crawlers will not crawl any part of the URL that comes after the search, which means you would save a load of crawling. Okay. Now we can also ask the website or the crawler to not crawl certain file types. So we could do this. .pptx. Now pptx is for a PowerPoint file. So what we've done here using the star is tell all crawlers not to crawl any PowerPoint files, and they should respect that. Now, let's say, for example, we wanted to stop crawling of any files that ended in a certain type of suffix. So let's say the pptx. We can just use the $sign like that. Now, what that $sign is saying is part of another regex wildcard. Is saying that any file that ends like this, pptx, do not crawl it. So it could be HTML. So we are saying here that any file that ends in .html, do not crawl it. We don't want it to be crawled. Now, let's say, for example, we want to crawl or stop crawlers from crawling a particular file structure or part of a file structure. Let's say, for example, we have a URL like this, shoes, and then you have red shoes. Let's say, for example, we want crawlers not to crawl any part of the website that is to do with shoes, that contains pages under shoes. So you would just do this. You put the / here and the / at the end. So that is telling crawlers to not crawl any part of that site. And also when they do come to crawl, keep that 120-second delay. That is to protect our server resources so the server can be ready for the crawl. Now, let's say, for example, we want to stop all crawlers from crawling the shoes section of our site, but we want to allow Google to do it. Now, Google has a specific directive that they respect. So we can just do Google bot, and this disallow changes to allow. So the allow directive is only respected by Google. So we can say shoes. So what we've done here is put a directive that says to all crawlers, do not crawl, disallow, do not crawl the shoes section of our website. But we've put in a specific directive for Googlebot, and we are saying allow shoes. So Googlebot is allowed to crawl the shoes, and no other crawler is allowed to do that. So as you can see, we've given some basic examples of how you can implement directives to stop crawlers from crawling certain parts of your website. Now, one last thing I want to show you, which is very, very important, is how to reference the sitemap in the robots.txt file. So all we have to do is write sitemap, semicolon, and have to write out the whole URL. Oops. So just going to reference. Let's say, for example, we had example.com, and as normal, the sitemap is on the root part of the domain. So we just write that .xml. So we will talk about sitemaps in another module, but normally sitemaps are written like that. They're written in .xml files, okay? And they're referenced like that. So what this is saying to search engines that come and read the robots.txt file, that, hey, we have a sitemap here. Go and crawl it, okay? The sitemap is one of the ways that search engines, particularly Google, find the most important pages and URLs on your website. And by referencing it in the robots.txt file, you're giving them another indicator, another nudge to go and crawl your website the way you want it to be crawled.